Hip hip hooray and hello everybody. I'm Natalie and this is Scientology Life After a Cult. Thank you moderators for being here, members and everybody in the live chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome y'all. Okay, we got all kinds of good stuff to go over today, including how Aaron Smith-Levin at Growing Up in Scientology exposed there's this Cardone mean girl fight going on with Grant Cardone. Mostly it's Elena Cardone, his wife, and another person. We're going to talk about that. It's embarrassing. I kind of really feel like Grant and Elena have really stepped in it this time, but you decide. I'll share the information and you decide. Someone infiltrated, went inside Melbourne Scientology. We're going to look at that. That was very interesting. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Scientology is over the top, trying to hide, cover, block. What? What are they protecting? They're garbage. Yes, you've heard it here. That and so much more on today's Culty Recap, you guys. We got so much to talk about. Welcome and aloha. Thank you so much for the alohas, the hearts, and the flowers, and the chat as you all get here. You know I love that. That's right, antics of a mama squirrel. Give that like button a lay. Go lay that button, y'all. Lay the button. Let's kick things off with a little bit of Scientology propaganda. But I got to say, there's something missing from this Scientology propaganda that I am about to share with you. So let's look at this. This is Scientology, another one of their press releases, right? A movement for change. Scientology's new campaign brings tradition and modernity together. First, I thought, and I meant to Google this before and I did it, is modernity a word? Modernity. I don't even know how to say it. I'm going to just do it real quick. Modernity. Okay, it's a word, a modern way of thinking, working. It feels weird. You ever get where, you know the word and it just sounds weird and you think, no way is that right? I'm not like spelling it right or seeing it right. I do that with words like to save my life, I cannot spell calculator. I'm constantly spelling it wrong. I got a couple words like that. I don't know what the deal is. No matter how many times I'm like, this is how you spell it. This is how you spell it. I still get it wrong. Y'all got words like that where there's just no way you've just accepted in life that you're just never going to spell it correctly or say it correctly. If they are, tell me in the chat what they are. Don't leave me out here hanging alone all by myself with my weirdness, okay? You guys know the drill. I share me, you share you. We laugh about it. We move on. We feel better about things. So tell me your words. And if you're catching this on the replay, thank you for being here. And please do jump in those comments. Okay, let's get back to this propaganda here and what is missing from Scientology. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Europe, Scientology. They're talking about the 10-week global initiative spanning 30 countries and 17 languages. This is why you're seeing so many Scientology commercials right now, or seems like you are. Well, you are. Some of you might be. Our Voice, right? They're doing these different commercials and videos. And of course, every time they mention this campaign, look how weird this is. They say this every time. The campaign's debut took place at St. Hill, England during the 40th anniversary celebration of the IAS. This part. Mr. David Miscavige, Scientology's ecclesiastical leader, described the initiative as a transformative step forward for the church, offering the global audience a deeper understanding of its principles and purposes. Here's what's missing from this, though, you guys. And I looked through it, I do kind of skim these things, but I did not see it. They are not saying they have millions of members in this. What they are saying, since L. Ron Hubbard founded Scientology in 1952, 2 years after he released the book Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health, that the religion has grown into a global organization with more than 11,000 affiliated groups in more than 167 countries with members in 188 territories and nations. So again, what about the millions of members? I've just noticed in the last couple of Scientology propaganda press releases, they're not mentioning their millions of members. And we're going to talk more about that a little bit in the video because it is such a thing, but pay attention to that. Are they finally stopping and dropping the claim that they have millions of members because it's so easily disprovable by anyone who can do math? Or in my case, ask Alexa to do the math for her. More on that though. But I'm telling you, I think they might just be, at least right now in this moment, going. Can you imagine the meeting? In fact, let's wake up OSA. David Miscavige, please wake up your staff on this Saturday. We'll be gentle because, it's Saturday. Office of Special Affairs, rise and shine. Office of Special Affairs, I'd like you to know that I do my recap on Saturdays at 11 to give you more time in the morning, even though it's 9 o'clock your time if you're in LA. But still, then you're not having to get up at the butt crack of. So you're welcome. Here is the deal. People are catching on. There are not millions of members. If you go and you look, here's a little treat for anybody in Europe and interested in Scientology propaganda in Europe. I'm going to link all this down below, you guys. This is the European office of the Church of Scientology for Public Affairs and Human Rights. This, if you got some time on your hands and you want a couple good chuckles, especially if you're interested in Europe and Scientology, is a fun read. There are some things in here that are just going to blow your mind with how Scientology thinks they're expanding in Europe. It's similar to like in the United States. It's so funny. But pay attention, Office of Special Affairs, because we have so much to go over today. Catherine says, I love the two-handed DM toss. Yes, I'm so thankful for the lovely people here who sent me my little DM dolls. I do love playing with them. Marty, I think they're still sold on Blown for Goods channel in his merch shop. I think that's where people have gotten them. If you want to get one. Okay, so now let's get into this. Let's get into this other news here. We're just going to briefly touch on this because I was like, well, I don't know. I think it's a little odd that I've heard, maybe it's just me, very little about Jennifer Lopez's dad, David Lopez, being a Scientologist. I think that's his name. Is that his name? Yes. He has been a Scientologist apparently for over 2 decades. Jennifer Lopez never became a Scientologist. So there was this article, this story kind of floating around recently about Jennifer Lopez's dad, Father David, publicly reacts to her divorce from Ben Affleck during rare appearance. Now, I mean, it's a little clickbaity. He didn't really publicly react besides like kind of like shrugging it off. He's saying that he's 82 years old. He may have gotten recently married. I don't even recognize him. So I don't know where he was doing his Scientology or what he's still doing today, but I'm curious. So if any of you know, for former Scientology friends, anything about J-Lo's dad being in Scientology or still in Scientology, I'd love to hear about it. Natalie at lifeafteraccult.com. So he declines. He doesn't say anything when he gets asked about the divorce, but then somebody asked him about tips for maintaining a healthy marriage. He's like, I have no idea. So I just think it's interesting. Like, is he in Scientology? Why don't we really hear about him? Maybe he just doesn't talk about it. Is he not in Scientology anymore? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there because I feel like it's this. I don't understand. I don't fully have the story. So maybe some of you out there do, and you can fill the rest of us in on it and let us know what the deal is. Now, another thing we're going to look at quick that we've been talking about. Well, we talked about this a little bit. So Tom Cruise is making new Mission Impossible movies, and it sounds like they're going to be a prequel. So he's been looking for a young Ethan Hunt, which made me think, is this why he's been so up Timothy Chalamet's butt? You know what I'm saying? He went out there to see him and take photos and give him advice. Is he tapping him as a potential Ethan Hunt, younger one for early Mission Impossible? I don't know. I think it's possible. Maybe. And then do we dare even say maybe that's why he was doing it? Maybe could he not be trying to recruit for Scientology? I don't know. I mean, you guys know me personally. I believe he's always trying to recruit for Scientology. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. There's another way of looking at it. And this article, which I'll link down below, just talks about, it's a big update basically on the Mission Impossible movies by Scientologist Tom Cruise, and how he's on the hunt for this younger Ethan Hunt, which made me think about the other story we talked about. Is that why he's hitting up the young folk? Is he trying to get Sabrina Carpenter a role in an upcoming Mission Impossible with Timothy Chalamet? Shalimar, Chalamet. I really need to do better at learning the names of the current younger actors and actresses. Shalimar, Chalamet. I think it's Chalamet. Shalimar is very nice, though. Isn't that a perfume? Shalimar. Shalimar. I feel like that was a perfume back in the day. Any other Gen X's? I feel like my mom had it. Shalimar. God, that's ringing a bell for me. All right, you guys marinate and think about that. I'm going to move on to Los Angeles, where MD Media 18 was out there. And Scientology was being so extra. So what we're going to look at here is a building that Sea Org members live in. This is one of the locations that Sea organization members are living in. This guy comes out and immediately shuts the gate. They knew, like, they had MD Media on camera before he could even get out of the car. They knew that he was there. Probably they were watching his live stream, if I had to guess. But the amount of cameras up over there guarding their very precious cargo, which we're going to look at. Take a look at this clip.
And that was quick. That didn't take too long. Morning, sir. How we doing? Have a beautiful day. Morning, Ann. Damn, they must have known right when I went live. He just came out right away and shut that gate. The gate was wide open. Oh, that's a fail.
Oh, we threw the garbage. It didn't clear and make it into the bin. Now, this is kind of the point here that grabbed my interest. Look at this. Look at this structure. They've built over the garbage, right? So that people can't go digging around in it. I feel like that hasn't been there that long. I don't know. I feel like that would have popped out at me if I saw it earlier.
Come on, you're not going to fix that? Come on, guy. Good morning, Ann. Good morning, August.
No, he is not fixing it. So Matt goes over and gets a closer look at this. I think Scientology put this up because they're paranoid about people going through their garbage. Why? Okay, there's been a couple times, like in Chicago, where people have gone through the garbage of Scientology, San Francisco, and other places. So it does happen. I just think it's kind of like, oh, you don't like that, Scientology? You don't like when people go through your garbage? You're going to build a big thing around it now, so people don't go through your garbage. I think they're paranoid about it because for decades, they have been going through people's garbage. They used to pay garbage people, garbage men. Have I ever seen a garbage woman? I guess technically we should be calling them garbage people, but that sounds not right. Garbage men. Garbage people sound like, oh, you're garbage people. No, garbage. I'm going to go with garbage men. Anyways, they paid. In fact, I think Mike Rinder caught it on camera where he followed the garbage man from his house after taking his trash. They pulled over on the side of the road, met up with a guy who was giving them money for the garbage bag that they took from Mike Rinder's house. So Scientology has been doing this like forever. It is one of their favorite things. I think Scientology likes dumpster diving more than I do. And I love a good dumpster dive to look for some treasures. It's been a long time because let's be honest, right? I'm not scaling the dumpster and jumping in it. I don't have awesome health insurance. I'm not sure when my last, what is the shot you have to, tetanus shot was. I'm pretty sure it's current, but I don't know. I'm not trying to do that. So I just think it's interesting that they're so paranoid about it when they do it. And there is a saying in Scientology, and my former Scientology friends, you will recognize it. L. Ron Hubbard said, "The overt doth speaketh loudly in accusation." Y'all remember that? So basically it's like, yeah, you're being so accusatory. You're the ones with the overts. But this doesn't apply to Scientology. This is the funny thing. If they're critical of somebody, it's not because they have overts against that person. But if any of us are critical about Scientology or we're accusing Scientology of something, then the overt doth speaketh loudly. Oh, such a double standard. Okay, so let's go look at a close-up now of this garbage situation with MD Media, where the Sea Org members live.
Morning, camera. Morning. I'm here. Jesus. 1, 2, 3. They're not.
Look at that. 1, 2, 3 cameras right there, just right in the front. And is that barbed wire or string going across the top? Did they actually put barbed wire?
Not paranoid.
What you got in that garbage, Scientology? We've got tarps up. We've got a gate around it. You have 3 cameras and what looks like barbed wire. What is in your garbage?
Sharon, good morning. The failed trash.
I guess here is the garbage. The tarp was the parking where the cameras are, but here's the garbage.
Gina. Mandy Me, good morning.
So they have it open on top. I guess you just toss it over. So Sea Org members are supposed to just give the garbage a toss to put it over. Is that how this works? I don't know. It's just weird. What was with the barbed wire? Was it to keep people like, are people scaling the fence to get into the parking lot? I don't think so. I don't think so. Usually, often with a history in Scientology, when they have barbed wire or spikes, like at the international base that point inwards as well, it's not about keeping people out. It's about keeping people in. It's about discouraging people from getting out, from climbing the fence. It's weird. I just think it's interesting that they're doing that and like, oh yeah, no, don't look at our garbage. No, nothing to see here. Really makes you wonder what's going on in there. It really does. So then MD Media goes over to L. Ron Hubbard Way and sees some other interesting things. Let's take a look at this. So last night was graduation. Friday. Here's what caught my eye. Look at the giant bottles of hand sanitizers on all the tables now.
Yes, Adrian. Let me know if the picture's okay.
I mean, do they regularly have those out and I just didn't notice because I've not been looking closely? I don't know, but that seemed like a new thing to me. Like, oh, are they bringing out the are they going to put gloves out next? Like what's happening? What's happening? I can tell you this. Back in my day, yeah, they didn't have hand sanitizer. I mean, I know it's a thing that came from the 2020 days with Scientology. It's just like, oh, why are you putting it out there now? Interesting. Oh, and thank you for the update, all of you. I saw your comments. Yes, Shalimar was a perfume. There's also a musical group called Shalimar in the 70s and 80s. Okay, that's why it sounds so familiar to me. Both things, both accounts. So anyways, it does look like Scientology is bringing out the larger bottles of hand sanitizer, which makes me wonder, do they make their own or do they buy it and then bring it in? I don't know. Not a huge issue, but I'm always curious about that. Nutmeg says that I bet Scientology is telling their people that the protesters are trying to break in, so they need to use barbed wire. Yeah, that's something they would do. Oh, for your own safety, we're going to lock you in. You're not going to be able to get out, but it's for your safety because people like MD Media 18 are running around telling people to have a good day. We got to protect you from that. Kindness is contagious. We can't let Sea Org members know that there's people out in the real world who are actually nice and thinking about them and wanting to help them. We can't have that. Let's now go over to Clearwater, Florida, the belly of the beast. I love it when the crew is out there on a Friday night, which is flag graduation. Because, you know, flag is here, miracles and dreams come true, as the song goes. And out there, I think Erica was out there, Farrell Cheryl was out there, Aaron from Growing Up in Scientology. And Aaron ran into a person who's been with the Office of Special Affairs for a very long time. Check this out. I don't know if you guys caught this little interaction that happened.
Hey, oh, it's Pat Harney. Hey, good to see you, Pat. Hey, I didn't get a chance to really catch up with you the other night.
Long-time spokesperson for Scientology, public relations. We saw her the other day when Aaron was out at their, what do they call it? Like their version of a testing center, their information center. That's where Pat Harney's been spotted sometimes.
Just wanted to say how much I appreciate Scientology sponsoring SPTV and all the Scientology ads you guys play on my YouTube channel. And also, please send my thanks to Grant Cardone. I'm making a lot of money off of his ads as well.
Isn't it funny that, and of course, it's YouTube that decides where the ads go, far as I know. And I've had this on my channel too. So you got Scientology paying for ads and basically sponsoring our channels. Grant Cardone, Stephen Ridley, Music Academy, who is a Scientologist who's been accused of fraud in the music world and using his Music Academy to recruit young girls for Scientology. His ads I've heard too. I got the paid YouTube, so I don't see the ads, but I've heard those are on both of our channels as well, which is hilarious.
Have a wonderful evening, Pat. Good to see you. Pat works for the Office of Special Affairs here in Scientology. One of her main jobs is to harass critics. I thanked her for all the ads they run on our channels.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good for them to know that. Yeah.
Hey, Cheryl.
And there's Feral Cheryl. Love her Dev t-shirt. That's develop traffic in Scientology. And it basically means you're being a pain in the butt. You're making work for me when I don't need work to be made for me. It's called developed traffic. You're basically making more work for me. You're a pain in the butt. That's what Dev T is. So in fact, that's a good one. If you ever find yourself outside of Scientology doing a little live streaming or protesting, is let people know, hey, I don't mean to be Dev T, but how much debt are you in because of Scientology? Just somebody using the word Dev T when people not in Scientology, especially use Scientology terms, it's like disarming in a way to Scientologists. How do you know that? Wait a minute. It catches them off guard. And I've seen many protesters. Oh my gosh. I miss the days of Chris without a Hellcat would do that and talk about to security guards. I think I've seen Confident Chris do it too. Are you 2D flowing me? Which is again, another Scientology term. The second dynamic is family, sex, and 2D flowing basically means flirting. Are you like giving me a vibe? Are you giving me a vibe? Are you 2D flowing me? I don't mean to be Dev T, but you're Dev T. David Miscavige creates all kinds of Dev T for Scientologists. Isn't it Dev T that you have to put up with people letting you know the truth about Scientology? Maybe there is something to it. So many ways, so many things that can be used. It can be used in that way. Reprise 53 says, if a Scientologist approaches you, yell in a very snotty tone, Dev T, offlines. Maybe not snotty, but yeah. Nancy says, Feral Cheryl, I loved your live last night with all the honking and revving engines. They got so much support outside of Flag last night. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see. I got another clip here. This is kind of what we were talking about earlier. I'm noticing in press releases, Scientology is starting to shy away from, we have millions of followers, tens of millions of followers, and millions every day. They count like every person that ever walked by a Scientology building ever. Oh, that person's a Scientologist. Oh, you walked in? Scientologist. Definitely. You looked our way? Scientologist. It's obsessive. Yeah, Marcy, that's right. They have tens of hundreds. Tens of hundreds. So listen to this and we'll talk about it more.
Feel that some of these young, gung-ho, intelligent staff members who've been born and raised in Scientology and have never even started to question some of these things, if they really do believe there's 10, 15 million Scientologists, and if you said to them, in a calm, rational, caring way, hey, listen, have you done the math on that? You understand there's only 143 orgs in the world, and say, guys, look at your birthday game standings, your own birthday game standings, your weekly birthday game standings will tell you there's only 143 orgs in the world, you guys. Do you realize that you should have over 70,000 people per org? There's not even 70,000 Scientologists in the world. It's more like 25,000 right now, somewhere between 20 and 30,000.
That's why my goal is to get over 30,000 subscribers so I can say I have more subscribers than there are Scientologists in the world. Current Scientologists. And it is very true based on their math that Scientology has been sharing. Each organization should easily have, let's call it 7,000, not even 70,000. 7,000. There is not one org on the planet that has 7,000 Scientologists coming and going. Not even at Flag. Maybe if you counted it cumulatively. It's absolutely crazy. And it is a good point. And I think it might be part of why Scientology is starting to go, ooh, maybe we better not keep saying we have millions of members because it's so provable that we don't. People, turns out, can do math. 143 organizations or whatever, right? Divide that by the millions. It doesn't play. It just doesn't add up. It's not adding up with Scientology. It's not. Nutmeg says, I saw a Stephen Ridley ad this week on Windy City Thayton Watch's channel. Oh, that's fantastic. Cooler by the Lake says, maybe YouTube has a sense of humor about it and is doing it on purpose. Putting the ads in. Could be. I doubt it. I think it's more like, oh, these people watch Scientology content, and the algorithm doesn't seem to differentiate between anti-Scientology looking to expose and shut down, and then Scientology's own content, which, let's be honest, Scientology is overwhelmed. Their content online, especially on YouTube, is very small, because Scientologists don't make YouTube channels and get on there and talk about it. Unless, like, what was that one guy's name? Tampa Brad. People who are very new to Scientology and didn't yet get the memo or realize what the reaction would be if they do that. It's not very common. You see one or two bloggers here and there who are Scientologists, mostly talking about how much they love David Miscavige. It's making less and less sense, and younger Scientologists who know how to do math will look at that information and go, wait a minute, they're saying this. Why don't we ever see these people? Like, these are really valid things to point out. Where are the 7,000 members around your org? If there are millions of Scientologists, why is your org empty? It could be as simple as that statement. If there are millions of Scientologists, why is your org empty? And every org is empty. Empty in terms of, obviously there's a few people there, but they're not these big booming orgs, and they know it because staff members can look at the birthday game standings for every org, and that's a game they play for L. Ron Hubbard's birthday in March 13th, and that's their year, March 13th to March 13th, kind of like Thursday at 2 to Thursday at 2, and each org plays against each other, and so each one knows what the other one is doing because you get to see their points. So it should be pretty obvious that it's not like happening and exploding and millions of members and all of that. I mean, my gosh, some people, 700 people even at an org would be amazing. When I was in Scientology, on my best day in the Twin Cities, there was never 700 people at an event. A good event, impressive, would be like, oh my gosh, I think there were 200 people here. That would be massive. Bob says, I'm a Natalie-tologist. That's funny. Cece says, even Moxon can't watch YouTube. That's right. Didn't he admit that in court that he can't watch YouTube? I can't watch YouTube. So weird. It's so weird. They don't even know how weird it is. Marty says, I'm sure I'm banned from all Scientology social media. All right, now let's take a look at something else here. Let's pop over, speaking of Windy City, let's pop over to Chicago quick. I don't know if you guys follow Juanita. She was out there. Juanita is so consistent. She's always showing up to protest Scientology, helping other people. She is just a sweetheart. My Tony and I got to meet her when we were out there this past March.
And if we call, do you see, guys?
So that guy was just out taking a picture of Juanita, which is interesting because it's not like they don't know. They don't know who she is. She's over there waving, get my good side. I also don't recognize this guy. And then he just goes back in. Comes out, takes a picture, goes back in.
So he just took a picture of me. Isn't that incredible?
I mean, Juanita is pretty fabulous. I guess I'd want a picture of her too. It's just so weird. But okay, Scientology. Now let's go over to Melbourne, Australia. There's a guy who went inside and infiltrated Scientology. Really, he visited it. Infiltration is probably not even the right word. He went in, he videoed, he was there. Even T per Scientology Audit has a cameo in this video. I'm going to link the whole thing down below so you can see it. Let's look. This gives you a peek inside Melbourne org, and you also kind of get to hear the pitch for Dianetics that they give when you're inside there. Look at this.
Here it is, guys. You heard of Dianetics?
Yeah, I don't.
It's mental. It's the modern science of mental health.
Yeah.
It really gets rid of all the pain.
I see the books over there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that's an insanity, you don't like about yourself, you think weird things, you do weird things. It's all connected to the mind, and that.
So if you think weird things and you do weird things, it's all connected to the mind, right? All your insanity. And Dianetics can handle that. Well, you know what? Scientology, Dianetics. No, I'm keeping my weird. That is my individuality, what you identify as weird at times. Thinking for yourself is super bizarre. Being open-minded, what a crazy person. Knock that off. Do some Dianetics and get rid of this weird idea you have about having freedom of thought, being able to read what you want and do what you want and associate with who you choose. No, we cannot be having any of that.
The technology is that book.
Yeah, look at those Xenu eyes.
Gets rid of it.
So here there's a film room in the church where they do the brainwashing. Teaching.
They did give him coffee. A lot of these ideal orgs now, they have those cafes. I wonder if it was a latte or if it was just drip coffee. Little thing, but I'm curious.
Man, they got heaps of films here. This is a better selection than Netflix, I reckon. Do you want to watch a video on how auditing works? It's not playing though. They're just playing the music, no video.
It's basically kind of conditioning you for abuse.
Here it is.
So throughout the video, T per Scientology Audit has some good cameos. She shares some great information with them as well. So again, we'll link it down below so you guys can hear and see the whole thing there. Yeah, David Bruce, nice and infused coffee, right? You got to wonder, what is in the coffee? Probably CalMag, calcium and magnesium. They're big at that. They have it for the purification rundown there. So then he goes outside and it sounds like he runs into somebody that had once done a tour. And listen to what this guy says.
All right, if you're interested, by the way. Would you like to learn about our Lord and Savior, Xenu? Are you interested in Scientology at all? I thought you might be looking for some Scientology literature.
No, I've got plenty of that.
No, do you? Do they drop it off in the mailboxes and that?
Oh, are you not a Scientologist? No. When they first opened to look at the place?
Yeah.
And we watched a movie.
Okay.
And we thought it was about the what was that thing where they took all the alcohol away from the
Prohibition.
We watched a movie about that, but it was kind of propaganda-y.
Right, yeah.
I gave a fake name.
Yeah.
And then this is when I lived in. And then a year later, the head of HR for Scientology is like, John, I thought you lived on Brixton Street.
No way.
I punished him oh yeah, we moved. And my name's not John.
Oh, dude, that's the name I used. Man, that's crazy. They recognize you a year later.
Dude,
I'm gonna have to get facial reconstruction surgery.
I thought when they came here that all these rich people would move to the neighborhood, but instead all the workers moved here, and we have protests around the corner. So.
Oh, really? Do they protest there often?
On Alexander Road, they do.
Ah, true.
People have taken their own lives from being in debt, and when you're on, they call it on course, when you're doing a level or whatever. If you're not on course, they will hound you. They'll call you several times a day.
And look at this. Look at some of these reviews. But when you don't want to come back, endless texts, mail and email start flowing through. Luckily, I gave fake address, old email, and old address because they won't quit. And the person even says, great people, great place. They're nice enough, but don't go here if you're like me and can get fancied up pretty quick, but too nice to say no. There are other places for help.
Telling you, you need to get back on course. And it's a lot of pressure. People are in debt. People are taking their own lives.
Another review here, and I'll read this for my people who often are not necessarily watching the screen. You got an earbud in, you're doing some chores. This one says, if you've ever wanted to be bankrupted while also being alienated from everyone in your life, this is the place to go. So easy to leave. They definitely won't relentlessly hunt you down to try and drag you and your money back in. No, that's not going to happen.
From the financial, the hounding.
How was your first Scientology Christmas party experience?
I'm going to go next time for sure. I just love L. Ron Hubbard now.
What do you like apart from the coffee?
The baddies. There are some Scientology baddies ever.
Okay, what is a baddie? Does anybody know? Is this an Australian thing or is just even an American thing? And I just don't know. Can somebody tell me in the chat? Hopefully it's not something massively embarrassing and I'm repeatedly saying it. Oh, like when my kids told me to stop saying Netflix and chill. I think I said it on multiple live streams. I just want to Netflix and chill. And then my daughter's like, you know what that means, right? I'm like, yeah, watch Netflix and relax. She's like, no, it's watch Netflix and have intimate relations. I'm like, oh, just running around saying it. So interesting. Isn't that interesting around there? And the people know, and they know about the protests and the word is getting out and people like T per Scientology Audit and so many others out there in Australia who are getting the word out about Scientology. I love that he did this. Hopefully other people go visit Scientology and find out for themselves. So a baddie is a bad person, Mr. Damn, too. I kind of thought, like, is it literally just like a bad person or someone who's like badass? Like, what is it? What is it called? Oh, Greggy says a baddie equals an attractive woman. Okay, so they were making a joke. Is that, Greggy, is that in Australia or is that like, you know, what people say over here too? You know, I gotta learn the terminology. It's hard to keep up. I am at that age. I have read things. In fact, I have a list of things I need my daughter to translate for me, the way that especially the Gen Zs speak and the words they use. It's very different from us Gen Xers. And I've been trying to learn the language. And I read something the other day. I couldn't understand most of it. It was a comment somewhere and my daughter had to translate it. Like, how do you know these things? And she's been learning. Okay, now let's get into this topic I am dying to talk about. And that is Mean Girl Elena Cardone and Grant Cardone and this whole drama they have going on. Why is it so interesting when rich people fight each other? You know, like Real Housewives is a big thing. Now you got Elena Cardone and Grant Cardone, self-proclaimed billionaires. But everybody else says, nah, they're not billionaires. So millionaires, let's give them that. And now they're feuding with their former partner, this Brecka guy. We're going to look at some clips from growing up in Scientology about this. And we're going to talk about it because the level of mean girl crazy, in my opinion, that Elena Cardone went to, and now she's being sued for defamation by this guy. It is so, I read it and I'm like, one, who raised you? Secondly, girl, what are you doing? You know what? We got to listen to it and then we're going to talk about it because I am just like, this is so crazy. But I'm not going to lie. I love it because for whatever reason, one of my guilty pleasures, and I'm not even guilty about it, I like watching rich people fight. I don't know what it is, not physically, but I mean, maybe just like, maybe because growing up, I always thought that people who are successful, if financially successful, somehow are just, you know, surely there's something they know or they're doing better, right? And so often you see them behaving so badly. Just, I mean, just like somebody out of high school. So let's take a look at that. But first, Timiha says, thank you to your daughter, Nat. I'm always saying I want to Netflix and chill. I will no longer be using this phrase, power to the Gen Xers. I still say it, but like at home, I don't know. I still feel like it should literally be chill. Yadira says, so if I watch Netflix alone, how am I supposed to chill? Solo chill. Definite Trouble Source says Netflix and chill equals one person hoping for intimate relations, but doesn't mean it's going to happen. Oh, okay. So like you're on a date or something and then like, hey, let's Netflix and chill and then see where it goes. Squirrel girl. Yadira, 1D flowing. 2D flowing. 2D is the one that's the sex one. That's right, Yadira. Solo 2D flowing is what you would be doing if you Netflix and chill alone, I guess. Okay, now back to this. Back to Elena Cardone being a mean girl, along with Grant Cardone. Listen to this.
I love it when things come full circle. Almost 9 months ago, I did a video on my channel called Grant Cardone's 10X Health Scam is about to implode. And in that video, what I detailed was information that had been shared with me by an insider that the star that was carrying the success of 10X Health, a man named Gary Brecka, that Gary Brecka and Grant Cardone were having a little bit of a falling out. That Grant Cardone could not stand the fact that Gary Brecka was outshining him as a star. Really.
And it makes sense that he was, because Gary Brecka, let's look at this here quick. Gary Brecka is the guy who like had the know-how, who's like, he's a human biologist and a biohacker. This is Gary Brecka. So this is the guy who's now suing 10X Ventures and Elena Cardone. Transform your mornings, transform your life, join the challenge. He he's a speaker. He has a lot of products. Looks like he's walking the walk. Handsome man. That is a great photo. Let's just sit here for a minute. I'm kidding. So, he knows biohacking. He sounds very impressive in what he knows. Like he seems like he's the guy who knows the science behind what these 10X products and things are supposed to do and has the connections in that field. So it is huge for them to lose him. I don't know what the comparable thing would be like if Disney lost Mickey and Minnie Mouse. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the front people. They're the ones who know, who have the Disney spirit. And if they leave and turn around and sue Disney and make all these claims, it just seems a little bit like Disney would never be the same. And I don't know how, with the allegations swirling around about 10X being a fraud and the whole way that Cardone's empire works. There have been people who've left and have said it's a cult. Like there are so many similarities, which makes sense because he's a Scientologist. That's what he knows. He knows the L. Ron Hubbard. He does. So of course he's going to use that. So that makes sense to me. So that's who Gary Brecka is. Let's finish this clip.
And that it was Gary Brecka and his relationships in the industry and in the fitness world, the supplement world, and with celebrities that got all of the attention. And I did a video about this. I love it when things come full circle.
Yeah, he did a video about basically predicting what is right now happening several months ago. It was so great. Robin Bickerdike says, I'll bet their lawyer had an aneurysm when she replied to Brecka's post. Exactly. When Elena Cardone's pettiness is going to cost so much money. So much money. And I had suspicions, you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen some of her stuff in interviews and I thought, God, she really does kind of see like a bee. But then I thought, you know what, Natalie, you're just being biased because Scientology and blah, blah, blah. And the more I watch, I'm like, I don't know. I not a fan. I mean, it really is. So it's interesting to see how this has evolved and her actual, what she said, which is crazy. So it's $100 million defamation lawsuit against Elena Cardone and 10X Ventures. So let's get a bit more of the details of this insanity.
Guys, the prediction has come true. Gary Brecka is no longer with 10X Health Systems. I didn't even know this. It happened last month. And not only that, Gary Brecka has now filed a $100 million defamation lawsuit against Elena Cardone, in addition to a separate lawsuit against 10X Ventures. Guys, the prediction
has come true. I mean, you just cannot make this stuff up. You really can't. Christina, so much better of a comparison. Or if Scientology lost Tom Cruise. Exactly. This would be the equivalent. Thank you, Christina. That's such a better way of saying it than my analogy. It would be like Scientology losing Tom Cruise in many ways, Robin says, you and Aaron are the only two YouTubers who pronounce my name correctly. I love that. I'm glad because I don't always get it. I don't always get them right. Old Fritz, Nat seems a bit of a bee. Oh, totally. I got a little bee in me. We all do. Once in a while, she comes out and likes to be catty, mainly when it comes to people like Elena Cardone doing what she's doing. Eunice Swagpants says, Aaron's glee in his prediction coming true is just delicious. I know. I'm happy for him because he gets so excited about it. And he called it. I mean, he really did call it. So let's take a look at what is it that Elena Cardone said? What were the circumstances? that got to this point of $100 million defamation lawsuit. What possibly could she have said and done?
Wow. Okay, here we get to Elena Cardone's dirty dealing. On November 25th, Brecka made a joint post with Workinger on his Instagram account, reflecting on his and Workinger's journey from starting Streamline to the present, informing the public of his departure from 10X Health and expressing his thanks and gratitude to 10X Health and his fans.
So remember, this was a really nice post, despite the breaking up here. He still goes and does this really nice post. This is Gary Brecka doing the really nice post.
Brecka also took the opportunity to highlight his support for the employees and caregivers of 10X Health. Finally, he emphasized that the patients and clients of 10X Health remain in excellent hands, referring to the team at 10X Health as the most compassionate caregivers in the space.
Okay, so he does a post like that. Gary Brecka does, right? After the bad blood and the split. Apparently, Gary Brecka was going to resign, and somehow Cardone's people got wind of that, and then they terminated him. I don't know how they found out. Obviously, Gary Brecka got a leak. Somebody's talking your business and taking it back to Grant Cardone. And I wouldn't think about it. Look at the levels, like what Scientology does, what David Miscavige does, in terms of like putting people in Tom Cruise's life, even Tom Cruise, to spy on him and report back. So I don't know. I'm speculation. I'm not saying this happened and I know anything about it. I'm just saying I'm speculating that maybe Grant Cardone did something like that, or Elena put somebody in his sphere. Because how'd they find out? How did they find out so fast? And then to be able to turn around and terminate him, just like boom, just like that. And then Gary Brecka goes and says this really nice thing on social media. Hey, you're still in good hands, blah, 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 blah. Seems so stand up, right? Wouldn't you think that at that point, it'd be like, okay, we're parting ways. He's not throwing shade. He's not saying anything. We can move beyond. No. Elena Cardone apparently does not like to be dumped.
Wow. Okay. In response to the heartfelt Brecka post, Elena Cardone posted to her over 688,000 Instagram followers an old video clip of Brecka and Sean Combs, a prior 10X Health client, with the caption, "Oh boy, bye." Oh, damn. Spicy. So mean.
Like, did she really did boy bye him? Boy bye. I mean, this is, I cannot. It's so, I want to say juvenile, but I also love it because, again, like I said, I don't know why I love rich people drama.
Girl. Okay. We all know about the Diddy stuff. We can skip that. Mrs. Cardone published the Instagram post to create the false impression that, among other things, Gary Brecka and Mr. Combs had more than a professional relationship, and that Brecka was in some way involved with or participated in the conduct underlying Mr. Combs' recent criminal racketeering charges.
So Elena Cardone's response to this, his really nice post, is to go put out information that he had something to do with Diddy. She tries to Diddy Gary Brecka. That is her dead agenting. That's what she's doing. This is Scientology dead agenting completely. Oh, this guy's going to go out and for one, they make the assumption that he's just going to say something nasty. He didn't. And they still respond like crazy people. Oh yeah, he's down with Diddy. Really? This is how you want to play it?
Brecka's relationship with Mr. Combs was limited to interactions with Mr. Combs as a client of 10X Health. Mrs. Cardone knew that her intended meaning for the Instagram post was false and or in reckless disregard of the truth.
She completely is trying to position him with the whole Diddy scandal. That is what blew my mind too. Like, wow. Number one, right? It doesn't appear, there's nothing to really back up that he had any relationship beyond a business one. That would be like saying the Culligan guy who delivers water to Diddy's house is somehow involved with Diddy and he's guilty because he was there, they're doing business because they're providing water. That this is the route she goes right away and just completely goes and puts this thing on social. That she did. Eunice Swagpants says, nothing says professional like trying to tie someone to a horrific public scandal. Way to go, Elena. Not only that, there are real victims of Diddy and company. real victims, families who've been torn apart, people who have suffered and are still suffering to this day. The abuse and the crimes that happen with the whole Diddy scandal in the Diddyverse will have a domino effect for a long time to come. There are many people seriously traumatized by the abuse and what happened. But Elena Cardone wants to take this and try and position her former business partner with it now. And the other thing is like, okay, well, you're saying this now because he's leaving. He left. You terminated him. You tried to break up with him before he could break up with you. You're saying this afterwards. Well, you still knew it way back when. So it's like you didn't think, if you really thought he was involved with Diddy, then why didn't you say anything for the last year or whatever? It's so blatantly obvious that this is not about that, that it is completely about the Cardones trying to throw this guy under the bus. And in the process of doing it, they're actually hanging themselves. And yes, I am giddy about that part.
Okay. Yes. Okay. We'll fast forward here. Wow. Okay. So just some evidence that viewers of the post, viewers of Elena's post and comment clearly took it the way Elena intended them to take it.
Yeah, look at those comments calling it tone deaf, unbecoming, classless.
Later that day, Workinger privately reached out to Elena Cardone regarding the Instagram post and was met with open hostility, further cementing its malicious purpose. Okay. So Sage said, "Why would you post that, Elena? That was not kind and really disrespectful." Oh my God, wait. So Elena texted first. "Just for you. Maybe Gary can make nice comments as well. Happy Thanksgiving." Holy shit, that is so nasty.
It is so like Dr. Evil level. And to do it too, like this is, you know, during the season of giving and acceptance and right, being grateful and giving thanks. Like this is how you show up. You show up like this because you are like this. That's the thing. This is more and more I'm seeing. This is who she is.
So she does this on Thanksgiving and then texts her saying, "Happy Thanksgiving." Okay, Sage says, "Why would you post that, Elena? That was not kind and really disrespectful. I see you took it down because people didn't agree with you posting it. It was trashy." Elena says, "I'll put it back if you want." Oh my God, what a bitch. Sorry, I just had to say that.
It's so that there, what she's saying, what Elena is saying there, "I'll put it back if you want," with her little like hearts and stuff. That's called being 1-1 in Scientology. That is covert hostility in action. Smile on your face, knife behind your back. She completely knows what she's doing. She completely does. And there's a belief in Scientology that you have to meet people, like if they're antagonistic, right? If they're angry or antagonizing, really she should be acting bored if she's really following Scientology's handling on that. But instead, she's just getting like all kinds of catty about it. Janet Byrne says, "Elena Cardone isn't nice. I refer to a past interview that Natalie did with a former worker for 10X who told a story about Mrs. Cardone at a seminar she hosted." Yes, Janet Burns. That is right. That was with Ben Johns. And I think I'm going to chat with him again coming up sometime soon. We've been talking. I want to have him on the channel again. And he shared a story of how Elena Cardone was, giving some kind of talk. And she was saying that basically you're responsible for anything that happens to you. It's your responsibility. And a woman in the crowd said, "What about, SA? Like, was that my fault when I was SA'd?" And Elena Cardone said, "Yes, it was." And the woman ended up walking out. It was just, I mean, I don't got to tell you guys, there's so many things wrong with that. It is absolutely disgusting. Let's continue on.
Okay, Sage says, "Go for it. Let's see what other people think of your petty post."
These are grown people too. This is what blows my mind. These are not like, high schoolers on Snapchat or whatever they're on now having some kind of battle. This is like grown people who are, successful from a financial standpoint, right? Supposedly, or as they would lead us to believe. And this is how you act. This is how you behave. This is what you do, especially with somebody who is so close to you at one point. What happened in 24 hours that you can so quickly just flip like that? It's really uncanny.
Wow. Brecka and Workinger believed that the Instagram post was the end of the matter, but Elena Cardone had other ideas to take the fight to Brecka. Brecka's Instagram account has over 2.2 million followers. Social media is the lifeblood of Brecka's business. Elena Cardone took it upon herself to reply to the Brecka post.
Now, remember, the Brecka post was a post that Gary Brecka did where he was very nice and complimentary and not setting any fires, didn't seem like he was trying to burn any bridges either. And this was her response.
And to Brecka and Workingers, millions of cumulative followers.
Yeah, Elena goes and comments this on the guys, like right there in the public eye in front of everybody.
Wow. Okay. And this is all going down on Thanksgiving. Grant believed in you, put you on a growth conference stage in 2019 in front of 34,000 people. You promised him you could deliver on your supplements. You could not deliver. We had to cancel everyone's order. Grant took that hit, not you. But did Grant quit on you? I'll never quit you, Gary. You didn't have the business savvy or means to scale. Cardone Ventures and 10X Health came in and bought your failing strip mall business and offered you ownership in the company. Grant Cardone founded Superhuman Protocol. It was not in your near bankrupt strip mall vitamin supplement business. Oh shit, this is nasty. You latched on and made millions. You were the only one paid from the business. No other partner has taken a paycheck but you and Sage. All the other partners reinvested to build the company. I personally introduced you to Lauren Ridgier. I don't know who that is. Carrie Kasem and Dana White. By the way, Carrie.
You got to love too how like she tags these people. This woman, Elena Cardone, is like trying to drag as many people into her little drama internet fight here as possible. Going ahead and actually tagging them in this. It's just, oh, it's hilarious.
Carrie Kasem, also another Scientologist, just like Grant and Elena. We built a real company with real infrastructure and we are going global. I've watched you pitch other products that are not 10X Health so that you can make your profit, even though you have ownership in 10X Health. Every partnership that 10X Health was in talks with, ironically, became friendly with you and no longer has interest in partnering with 10X Health. Maybe that's because you guys don't have any credibility. And in this space, Gary Brecka does. Mm-hmm. And we have watched you steal clients and badmouth leadership all over town. You say disagreements with leadership. You are right. Blah, 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 blah. The fact that most people that know you have no idea that you have partnership with my husband, Grant Cardone, is shocking to me, Gary.
I thought that was kind of a weird comment to make. What do you guys think about that? That nobody knows you're in partnership with my husband. How can you be in partnership like that and nobody knows, especially being the guy is so out there? So she basically saying that, hey, you're like you're not giving credit to Grant Cardone. You're not letting people know that he is your partner. You should be singing his praises more. That's kind of what I'm getting from it, is that that's kind of where the upset is, which I don't know. It seems like a narcissistic viewpoint to take. Is it about the product and what you're doing, or is it about acknowledging Grant Cardone and holding him up? You see what I'm saying? It shouldn't be about the product and the work that you're doing. And he, his thing that he posted was not hateful. Yeah, Marcy, it is a weird statement. It's a little odd. It's a little odd.
Falling out.
Hold on a second here. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to link the whole thing down below there because you got to see the whole thing. Erin does a great job laying out more of the sequence and what happened. But this is I just cannot believe what I'm seeing here. I really can't. Rachel says it was like she was saying, oh, my pearls. Kathy Scogan says, it's really weird, but I don't care myself. But if it puts eyes on any of the bad stuff that's going on, then that works for me. Yes, it does. The Cardones are one of the largest donors to Scientology. Everything they do is tied to Scientology. Huge supporters of it. Hey, Christy Bell, glad you're here. Make sure you go back to the beginning at some point. Catch up on that replay. It's so bizarre. And it is not, it really shows you like, here's Scientology at work. It does seem like the Cardones, based on the way that they communicate and how they handle things like this, like they really are this whole mean girl mentality and bullies. And are we really surprised, right? Being that if you think about it, and they follow Scientology and leader David Miscavige, right? It's there be certain characteristics. It's like is attracted to like. So if you're kind of a bully, David Miscavige is completely a bully. That you would attract people like that, right? That you'd want to be around people like that. That you would consider people like that to be successful. And this type of behavior, I can't help but the thing that keeps going through my head is, did she not at any point stop and go, how is this going to play? How is this going to look? What kind of message am I sending? I'm representing. She's so concerned about her husband, Grant Cardone, being shown in a good light. Yet she's over here creating one of the biggest, in my opinion, out PR, as Scientology would say, out public relations situation that's going on. Marty says, correction, she is the new Leona Hemsley. Oh my goodness. I just cannot, but I'm here for it. I am so here for it. It's not even funny. I don't know what it is. I just enjoy seeing it. And this is not a battle that they're going to win. I mean, it's going to be a while, right? This lawsuit's going to go on. Maybe they'll settle. I don't know. But at what point do the Cardones not get the message that, hey, nobody's picking up what you're putting down anymore? We're seeing through it. We know your ties to Scientology. People are leaving your organization and talking about it and referring to it as a cult, being very controlling. And then you show up and you behave like this. It's just bizarre. Jake Be Good says, before I canceled Twitter, most of my engagement came from trolling the Cardones. And I know they get lots of troll, even outside of the former Scientology community, because of what they do and the way they present themselves and the alleged fraud. Marcy says, yeah, culty behavior for sure. I can't wait to see what happens next. I really can't. Oh, I also wanted to bring this up. Wooly, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Wooly says, and this is in regard to Chicago org, the guy taking a picture of Juanita. Maybe the guy at the org was taking a picture to update their rogues gallery. Wooly, you're right. You're probably right. They need to locally update their book, and Juanita was not in it. And if you don't know what that's about, you got to go catch my video from, I think it was yesterday that we talked about that. That makes sense. Be merry for life. Double check your subscribe button. Trying to hit 30,000 subscribers by the new year so Xenu can no longer penetrate Natalie's shields. That is a very stiff target. I mean, what is today? Saturday. So that'd be like Wednesday. I am not opposed if we could somehow get 9,000 more subscribers by New Year's Day. That'd be amazing. That's a stiff target. Even that's a really stiff, but I'm open to it. Ufa says, what did the Cardone world do to pull this in? That is a great question. And they're not wondering that either. They're not wondering that. Hey, Bernadette from Scotland. Thank you for being here. Marty Kingshot says, my New Year's resolution is to get in the burn book. Yadira says, only 9,000. Easy. Well, I'm depending on you all. So everybody go call your friends, get your parents on YouTube and get them all to hit that subscribe. Maybe we can do it. Then I can officially say I have more subscribers than Scientology has members. Oh my goodness. Thank you everybody for being here. That's what I got for you right now. You know the drill. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and most of all, get out there and have an amazing cult-free day.